That magnitude, you guys show up like that.
Let me first start, Paul. Before I answer that, you might have to ask it again. But this was not on UPL. Just so we're clear on that. That change was made because we didn't have the start. They had jump at the start. We didn't. It was one of those nights where you could see we weren't processing things well. I thought that was the case through the entire game. We didn't look sharp and we didn't feel sharp. We had to battle, I think, within ourselves, and we challenged them quite a bit on the coaching side. 2 minutes left. Thompson hits the shaft of a stick. Could have made it a 5-4 game at that point. So I give the fight was what we needed to see when you're not feeling good. We weren't sharp. We weren't smart out of the gate. And we were the first 3 or 4 minutes, and then after that goal, it was a deflator, which is a real. When you look back at it, I've had a chance to even just go watch. You can see, knowing what you see on the bench and feel on the bench. There was a deflator there, and then before you know it, we're down a couple. We're down 4. At that point, the necessity is to fight and compete. And then we cannot compromise that. I don't think we did compromise that, even though there wasn't a guy out there that looked like themselves and didn't fight it tonight. So that's the way I feel about it, and you got to move on as quick as you can.
John, you've given up 5 goals, five or more, 5 times in the last 7 games. What do you think is going on with the collective defensive effort, defense, forwards, goaltending, everything since February started?
Yeah, well, you nailed it right there. February start. What were the first 9 of the first 10 days or 12 days in February? They were off. You were off, and I think that plays a large part in it. And so you have to factor that in it, and you have to obviously you look at it, and tonight it was you look at it, systems, and yeah, there's a system breakdown or a breakdown that you like to see, but it was more our guys weren't sharp. I mean, they know how to execute. They just weren't sharp tonight. So I guess what I'm saying is you can look at the games and say 5 goals in X amount of games and say, oh my God, is there something going on here? Well, you look at this game. I mean, we know we can be better. We know we will be better, and we'll move on. I don't think it's a problem that's going to linger. Is my feeling on it. I think it's things that'll be cleaned up and we'll move forward.
I mean, your guys seemed stunned when the Leafs had their push. They didn't really seem to have an answer. Of course, you called the timeout after the 3rd goal. When you see that happening, I mean, what's the level of concern just at this point in the season? Because I know you said they don't look like themselves, but it's not like you guys played last night, I guess is my point.
Well, these things happen at any point in the season. These things can happen. You look at playoff series, and a game like that. There's situations like that in a playoff series, and teams come back and rebound and win. It happens. It's a long season, and the important thing is in a situation like tonight, when you don't feel good, that you fight and compete. And that was one thing we cannot compromise. And we weren't sharp, but that competitive effort was. It could have got a lot worse, right? You're talking about a segment that was as ugly as a segment we've had in a building that was challenging in its own right, and you're reeling, and you can reel. But there was 50 minutes after that, or 48 minutes after that, and what we needed to see was compete, and that got better, and compete when you're not feeling good and when you have adversity. So, we're going to have to just pick up the pieces and move on, and that's what you do.
Where was UPL's game in your mind? You took them out because you kind of had to, but I think you could agree a couple of those goals need to be stopped.
Well, he was good the other night. We know that. So he's capable. So you can't predict the future, but he comes to work every day. The areas that you do predict it, I think, is his confidence is still strong by virtue of watching him in San Jose the other night. He comes every day. He works, and tonight we were out of sync. We played a team that was absolutely in sync, whose top players executed because they were in sync. They were feeling it. And again, so for UPL, I don't want to look at something and carry negative forward and baggage. It's not healthy. This is not something that doesn't happen around the league at times. You have to be able to handle this. And worry, doubt, fear, and everything else is no good to handle this. And nobody wants to hear me stand here and make excuses for what just happened. They want to see the next time out, and that's what we have to move forward to and focus on.
How much does nerves play into that start time?
It could absolutely. As Lance mentioned, that 4, 5, 6 minute span there is not something we've had happen this year. And we didn't, we hit a lull, and obviously you give good players a little bit more time and space, they're going to execute. And it took us a little bit to get back in it.